Imagine buying the same house as the person down the street, but paying £10,000, £15,000, or even £20,000 less. Sounds impossible? Stick around because I'll reveal how I consistently find undervalued properties whilst most investors settle for overpriced, competitive deals. My name is Dwayne Squires and my clients and I buy about 5 to 10 properties every month and have done so for the last 3+ years. For example, we bought this property £20,000 lower than the average property. It's worth £125,000 to £130,000, but using the framework I will share, we agreed a price of £105,000. That's 16% lower than what the neighbours paid. If you're serious about finding undervalued properties or want help building a hands-free property portfolio, book a free strategy call using the link below. Finding undervalued properties isn't luck, but here's where 99% of investors go wrong. The common problem is investors do one or many of the following. Number one, they stick to scrolling through Rightmove or Zoopla, fighting over the same properties. 2, they focus too much on convenience rather than extracting value. Number 3, they wait for the perfect properties in their backyard. Number 4, they don't build systems to identify and nurture the right opportunities. But here's the real key to buying properties 10 and up to even 15% lower than others. There are 2 pillars, motivation and timing. Focusing first on motivation. There are 2 types of sellers and they're motivated by different things. One is motivated by getting the highest price and will wait to get that. The other, however, is motivated by convenience and peace of mind, and so are flexible over price. And as you can expect, it's the latter we focus on. Now, from our experience, we found that about 5 to 7% of sellers will fit into this category of wanting to sell for convenience over price. So I'm not going to stand here and say finding these properties is everywhere. Statistically, it's about 1 in 20. But with the right framework, we filter out about 19 to then focus our efforts on that 1 or 2. So here's the most common circumstances where sellers would prefer convenience over price and as a result be flexible to a more favorable price for you. So let's start off with the first one, relocation. So they might have a job that causes them to travel quite far away, or they might be moving abroad for work or family. We've had scenarios where vendors or sellers it might be a young family, or they might be older in age, and they're looking to move close to their family. Maybe it's several hours away. And as a result, they just want the speed of doing so and the convenience in exchange for a more favorable price. The next one is inherited property. So they are less emotionally tied to the property and they could be looking to sell that property to release funds for personal plans or aims, or actually to pay inheritance tax. We've seen some really good opportunities that have come through inherited properties. The next one to factor in is where a property is empty. It could be property that's empty because it's inherited, the person's moved away, or for many other reasons, like maybe it's a landlord who has had tenants that have then upped and left and it's just sat empty. Now, interestingly here is they've got several costs factor in that makes them quite motivated to exchange a price for the convenience. In some areas, the council tax can be 2 to 3x what the normal price is. They've got the risk of vandalism and reputation from neighbors talking about the property, calling them up about the property. As a result, it can then go from an asset to a nuisance. The next circumstance is divorce or separation. You know, a husband and wife, or a couple could be looking to separate and just want to sell a house quite quickly to move on with their life and split the proceeds and go on in their own separate directions. And the last one is financial. It could be, for example, a job loss, or it might be higher mortgage rates that they're experiencing, which mean that they're just tipped over the edge where they can't necessarily afford to keep up with certain payments. So financial could also be a really good motivational factor in doing so. The key thing here is to be respectful to the situation and be amenable to actually providing a solution that works for you and works for the seller too. Now, here's 3 steps to getting the right opportunity. So we look at on market, second would be off market, third is follow up. So with on market, we work with estate agents and ask pertinent questions and have the tools to uncover the right motivational factors. Whilst with off market, we speak direct to sellers. We speak to them and get a really good personal relationship going. We do this personally by spending thousands of pounds on paid advertising, looking for sellers that have circumstances that mean that they're going to be more likely to be open for a better price. But there's also free ways like speaking and asking friends and family, or like of anyone they know who may be struggling to sell their property because they could be more amenable to a price change as well. Now that covers off on market and off market. Let's move on to follow up. Earlier in the video, I talked about 2 pillars to successfully finding undervalued property. One was motivation and the other is timing. And it's with follow up that timing becomes really key. From your initial discussions from opportunities that come on market or off market, this may not naturally lead to an agreement on price, but having the right systems and reminders to follow up, timing kicks in as over time, the seller may become more open to your offer. Take, for example, this property. We secured this property for our client at £15,000 under its value, but we had to follow up for over 9 months to do so. So a lot of patience and a lot of proactiveness in doing so. We had to show a lot of patience as the seller was looking to find an assisted living home that they can move into. If you'd like to access the same kind of undervalued properties, the ones most investors never see, then check out the link below to book a free strategy call. We'll map out how you can start building your portfolio with undervalued properties. Now you know how I secure properties at better value than most investors, but finding opportunities is half the battle. You also need to know how to accurately value a property so you can never overpay. So watch this next video where I talk you through the process step by step.